Hello friends, schoolsteps.in welcomes you again. In the last tutorial, we talked about creating the cards using the card fragment class. In this tutorial, we'll try to achieve the same using the layout. Let's do it. Open Android Studio, go to File, New Project. Give the project name as My Card Layout. Click on Next. Choose Where from here. Uncheck phone and tablet for the time being. Click on Next, Next, and click Finish. It will create a project for you. Expand RES. Right click on the layout. Click on New. Go to XML and click on Layout XML file. Give the name as Custom Layout. Click on Finish. Let's change the design time AVD to round. And let's go to the text. Select all and delete everything. Here, the first thing that we need to do is to create the tag for the box insert layout as we did in the previous tutorial. Next, we need to say Android dot support dot variable dot view dot card scroll view, which is right here. Let's define the ID. So we need to say ID. Let's define the ID as card scroll view. Let's define the layout height and width. Let's say match parent. Again, let's say match parent. And let's define the layout box property, which is app colon layout underscore box. And we need to define bottom here. Save it. As I mentioned in the previous tutorial, this property is required to align the card to the bottom of the screen without cropping the contents on the round shape variable. The next thing which we need to do is to define the card frame inside the card scroll view. Let's do it. We need to say Android dot support dot variable dot view dot card frame, which is right here. Let's define the properties. Let's define the layout height and width. We need to say layout height. Let's say wrap content. Let's define the width as well. Let's say fill parent. So what we have done till now is we have defined the box insert layout. Inside it we have defined the card scroll view, and inside it we have defined the card frame. Now let's define one linear layout and let's define two text view inside the linear layout. I'll do it quickly. So I have defined one linear layout, and inside the linear layout I have defined two text views, and further this linear layout is inside the card frame. I have also defined one title and description in the strings.xml as we did in the previous tutorial, and in the custom layout.xml this text view is referring to title and this text view is referring to description. One more change I have done is I have defined the ID for this particular text view, and the ID is scrollable text. Now let's go to the main activity.java, and right here instead of calling activity main, let's call the custom layout as we did in the previous tutorial, and let's delete this particular code which was generated automatically. Let's run our program now. Here is the output of our program. If you observe on both square AVD as well as on the round AVD, the card is at the top. We need to bring it to the bottom. Let's do it. Let's go back to the main activity.java. Right here, we need to create the object of card scroll view. So we need to say card scroll view is equal to find view by ID. And here we need to say r dot id dot card underscore scroll underscore view. If you remember, this ID we created in the custom layout, which is right here. Let's go back to the main activity. Right here we need to do the typecast. So we have got the object of the card scroll view. Here I want to mention one thing. Card scroll view is the class that detects the shape of the screen and displays the card differently on the round and the square devices. It achieves it using the wider side margins on the round screen. The next thing which we need to do is, using the card scroll view, we need to set the gravity. So we need to say dot set card gravity, and right here we need to say gravity dot bottom. That's it. Let's run our program again. Here is the output. You can see that on both square and round AVDs, the card is at the bottom. Now let's go back to the strings.xml, and right here let's assume the scenario where the description is very big. I have just made the big description. So if you go to the design view of custom layout.xml, you will find that the big description is not fitting here. So we need to make it scrollable. Now there are multiple ways you can make this text scrollable. Let's try one of the ways. Let's go to the source of custom layout.xml, and let's go to the text view containing the description, and right here let's define couple of more properties. Let's say is scroll container, and let's define it true. And the other property which we need to define is the scroll bars. So we need to say scroll bars, and let's define vertical here. Now let's go back to the main activity.java. Right here inside the main activity.java, we need to get the object of the text view. So we need to say find view by id, and we need to say r.id dot scrollable text. If you observe, scrollable text is the id which we have defined right here. Let's go back to the main activity.java, and let's get the object of text view. After getting the object of text view, all we need to do is we need to use the method set movement method, which is right here, and inside it we need to pass new scrolling movement method, which is right here. Save it. Let's run our program again. Here is the output. If you see, this text is scrollable, and same is here on the square AVD. So friends, using this way you have full control over the UI of the card, and you can define the look and feel of the cards as per your requirement. The other way using which you can achieve the same is, go to the custom layout.xml, and just above the linear layout right here, define the scroll view, and let's close it right here after the linear layout. And let's take out these two lines because we will not need it now, and let's define it here inside the comments. Now go back to the main activity.java and comment these two lines as well. So what we have done is we have defined a scroll view on top of linear layout. Please make sure that you do not define the scroll view outside the card frame. Reason being, card scroll view contains only one card frame. Let's run our program now. Here is the output, and if you observe, this time even the title is scrollable in both the AVDs. The reason being, we have defined the scroll view outside the linear layout. Friends, with this I take your leave. Thank you so much. Please like our page on facebook.com/letsandroid. If you have any query, do write us at info@schoolsteps.in or schoolstepsin@gmail.com. Thank you.